you keep studying. No matter how rough the sea, you keep studying. No matter how many people are telling you you can't do it, you keep studying.
What if you can pull this off? What if you can become the very person you dream of? It starts as soon as your alarm clock goes off. You have a decision to make, and it takes discipline to do this. To really commit to having a productive day. To get up, to make every single minute of your day count. And you got to do this every single day, no matter what it takes, no matter what obstacles get in your way, no matter what your friends say, no matter what your classmates say, a constant fight that just doesn't stop. Against weakness, against procrastination and laziness. It's a campaign of hard work and dedication. It's waking up early and going to bed late and studying every second in between. The fulfillment of your dreams lies within you and you alone. Whether you pass your exams or fail your exams is yours.
You need to be persistent about what it is that you want to achieve. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You want it, and you're going to give it everything you've got to achieve it. I didn't say it was going to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. If you want the A grades and the 4.0 GPA, if you really want it, if you're not just saying it, but deep down you feel it within you, there's gonna be sacrifice, there's gonna be work, and you're going to have to make tough decisions, and you're going to have to be patient. But if you can combine those three things, that's what makes great things happen. That's what builds extraordinary lives. Create the highest, grandest vision possible, because you become what you believe, no matter how crazy it might sound to the other people. Think about it carefully. Who do you want to be? What makes you happy? Keep pushing because you believe in yourself and your vision. It needs to be clear to you. You need to know exactly what you want. You know what it tastes like and smells like. But you're never going to be able to do it if you keep making the wrong decisions, if you keep procrastinating and wasting time doing things that don't align you with your end goal.
You want to achieve exceptional grades from now on? It's on you. You can make it happen. You've got the power to do that. You can change things for you. It doesn't matter what grades you got in the past. It doesn't matter. See, when you acknowledge it and say, hey, it's me. I'm the one that determines the outcome. I've got to do this. I have some obstacles in front of me. I know it's not going to be easy, but ultimately these obstacles are not going to slow me down. Just when you feel like you've done your last hour of studying or read the last passage in the textbook and your brain is telling you you can't study anymore, you say, yeah, I've got to do just a little bit more.
Make this year the year that you commit to yourself that you're going to make progress. It just takes discipline and outright dedication. If you can commit to winning every single day for the entire year, in 365 days, your life will be drastically different. I don't care who you are or which country you're from or how old you are. It's the same for everyone. If you're going to have the energy and the passion to drive through the day working at 100% effort, you've got to wake up every single day and start with that vision.
Because right now, while you're quitting, the next person will be studying. While you're quitting and giving up, while you're saying, all right, that's enough, it's time to rest, the next person is just getting started. Somebody's going to win, you or him. It's very simple. The person who wins is the person who wants it the most.
You have an opportunity right now that you won't have a few years from now. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. Your family are counting on you to study hard. Your friends are counting on you to study hard. And maybe you don't realize it yet, but your future self is counting on you to study hard. And the goal is not to keep studying until you're content. The idea is not to keep studying until you become satisfied with your grades. You should never be satisfied. You should always be striving for better. Because the day you become content with your grades, That's the day that you stop evaluating yourself. That's the day you stop growing. That's the day that the person trying to catch you will catch you.
You have to take advantage of the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that you have right now. You don't have to be the most talented, or the wisest, or the smartest, or the wealthiest. You don't have to be the most intelligent to get to the top. But you gotta study. You have to outstudy everyone. Your classmates might come from money. They might have parents that own businesses. They might know people and are able to get them a job. But they will not outstudy you. And what you have to do is make a decision that no matter how privileged or talented anyone else is in your class, you're going to outstudy them. But how do you outstudy everyone else in your class? I'll leave you with the words of Eric Thomas. I've looked at the most successful people in the world, and I realized that they have 7 or 8 similar things in common. And one of the things they all had in common was that they all had a routine. They are obsessed with routine. They don't have a gap of wasted time in their routine. They don't grind until 6 p.m. and then play video games for the rest of the night. They're not scrolling mindlessly through Instagram for hours a day. They don't have time. That's a poverty mindset. Successful people don't waste time. They don't watch TV. They don't do a lot of entertainment. If they're not working, then they're studying or getting better at their craft. So what you have to decide is, do you want to be in the 99% or the 1%? And you'll only join the 1% when you start thinking like the 1%, working like the 1%, walking like the 1%. How you prioritize your studying over the next 365 days will significantly alter the journey you're on and whether you make it into the 1% club. Aristotle said, "You are what you repeatedly do." Therefore, excellence ought to be a habit, not an act. Don't ever forget that.
As Coach Jay said, I'm not your coach right now. I'm your conscience. You're in a fight between will and skill. I say will first because that's where you are. You're locked and loaded with skill. You're studying every day. You're putting in your work. You're buying everything. Your books, pens, notepads. You're making the investment. You're living your dream. You're walking like your dream. You're surrounding yourself with your dream. You're studying until late at night and waking up early to do it all over again. You've put your work in. You've got your skill. And now it's the test of your will. It's a mindset thing you're in right now. It's a mindset thing. Because your challenge isn't moving. Your mountain is not moving. You don't feel like you're making any progress. You're not physically moving when you see everything else around you and other people around you moving. You're not making progress. You're in a test of your will right now because life says it has a little more test for you. It's no different because you messed up, because you fell off the wagon, because you failed an exam, 2 exams, 3 exams, you gave up on your studying, you dropped out last year, and you really want your dream to happen, and you're putting in your work, and nothing's happening yet. This is our moment, ladies and gentlemen. This right here is our moment, guys. You've all got to think about that just for a minute. This right here, this moment right here, this is our moment to where we make what we have been dreaming of into reality. The exams you have coming, it all starts in your mind. You've got to fall back on everything that you've learned, everything that you've prepared for, every hour you've spent studying for it. You've prepared well for this. Dreams can become buried under discouragement, buried under past mistakes. There are dreams buried under failed exams, buried under low self-esteem. It's easy to settle for average grades, even though you have all this potential buried on the inside. All of us have things that we're believing for, something we want to accomplish. Deep down, we know it's a part of our destiny. We can feel it so strongly, but then we hit some setbacks. We didn't pass the exam. Our results weren't good enough. If you do your part and start believing again, get your passion back. It's on the way. Go back and try again. The true mark of a champion is even though some dirt gets thrown on your dream, instead of letting it get buried, you keep shaking it off. You keep moving forward. You keep looking for new opportunities.
At high school, I graduated with a 1.3 GPA. At university, I graduated with a 4.0 GPA. Top 5% of my university. How did I do it? I used to struggle to wake up in the morning. I used to struggle to drag myself to my desk. I used to struggle to open my textbooks. And even if I got that far, after 10 minutes, I'd get distracted and stop studying. I was average, just like most other students. I was in a constant battle with procrastination, and I was stuck in this cycle of not studying enough, then failing my exams as a result. I graduated high school with a 1.3 GPA. I felt like a failure. I was disappointed, frustrated even. So I made a decision. I decided that I can achieve more than that I am capable of making something of my life. So I thought to myself, how can I achieve that? I've been performing at average my entire life. How can I get out of that trap? How can I perform among the rest of the A-grade students? I realized it came down to my daily habits. What I do constantly, every day, will determine what grades I achieve. It was like a light bulb turned on in my head. What I do with my 24 hours will determine whether I succeed or fail. Those that perform in the top 1%, when they don't feel like studying, they do it anyway. And that's what I started to do. And that's what you need to do. You study hard, even when no one is watching. No one needs to understand how many hours you're studying. No one needs to know how early you wake up in the morning, because that's the quietest time in the day with the least distractions. No one even needs to know why you're doing it. You're not doing it because of the grades, or to prove to the people around you that you can do it. You're doing it because you have a burning desire. Step by step, day by day, become the best version of yourself possible. Far too many people are dreaming of graduating with a 4.0 GPA, but their actions don't match their ambition. They're dreaming of graduating at the top of their class and getting a scholarship to an Ivy League college. They're dreaming of being the best doctor, lawyer, or surgeon in their country. They're dreaming of buying a huge house and a fast car. But when it comes to studying, they can't last 30 minutes without getting distracted. Don't make that mistake. Let your actions do the talking. Be obsessed with your studying, with learning, with growing. I've never met a successful person that wasn't obsessed with growing. That's what I did. I took out the binge watching Netflix from my schedule and replaced it with personal development material. I read books, watched documentaries, watched educational YouTube videos. I connected with and learned from those students that had already graduated with a 4.0 GPA. I set goals. Every day, a certain number of hours studying before I could relax. I exercised daily. I ate healthily. I made sure I slept early and woke up early so that I could have a productive morning. It's these small decisions that you make, the seemingly insignificant decisions that build up over time to create extraordinary results. After a few weeks, you will start to see results. Your grades will start improving almost immediately. You will start feeling better about yourself, happier, more content with your life. And after years of living like this, you will be capable of achieving extraordinary things. And you'll start to realize that your most wildly ambitious dreams and goals actually start becoming achievable. And when you decide that you've had enough of getting average grades, just like I did, let me warn you, it will be painful. And it will be uncomfortable. But that's where the growth is. You're going to get thrown to the ground again and again and again. But when you have the determination to climb to the top of the class, And when you know that what you're doing by studying every day will be rewarded, you will begin to discover things about yourself that you never knew existed. You will have an energy that just builds and builds as you achieve success after success. And that's exactly what I did. And if I did it, you can too. I got rid of the mindset that I'm not smart enough to be among the top students in my class. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy that I was stuck in for a long time. I believed that I wasn't smart enough, and so my grades reflected that. Once I threw away that mindset, it freed me to become whoever I wanted to be. You write your own book. And if right at this moment you decide that you want to make this a new chapter, you can literally turn the page in your life. And you can start a new chapter, still related to the old chapter. The whole book is about you. But the new chapter is a new you. It's a whole new story. And you can start writing the best chapters of your life right now. I knew it would take sacrifices. I knew it would take months and years of blood, sweat, and tears to reach the grades that I was achieving. But that's how you get to the top 5%. No one was doing what I was doing. No one was achieving the grades I was achieving. As Gary Vaynerchuk used to say, to be an anomaly, you've got to act like one. And that was my mantra. If you do exactly what everyone else is doing, then by its very definition, you will become average. And if you're happy with average, then so be it. That's fine. But I know you're capable of so much more. You only have one life. It doesn't have to be average. Make the most of it. No one at your university has ever achieved extraordinary grades that didn't have huge obstacles they had to overcome. Obstacles that every student has. Obstacles that you're experiencing right now, trying to stop you from fulfilling your potential. At first, it's the motivation and discipline that keeps you going. But the motivation and discipline can only help you short term. It's the passion you have within you that keeps you going. Not just the passion for studying and learning new things, but the passion for improving yourself. The passion for striving to become a better person each day. It's the passion to building a growth mindset that will help you become phenomenal in the long term.
And if you know anyone with a growth mindset, if you know anyone around you that is focused on pursuing their dreams, that is dedicated to becoming the best version of themselves every day, you'll probably notice they seem a lot happier. They have an optimism about them that other people just don't have. And it's something that's so difficult to explain, but when you get there, you'll know exactly what I mean. I was not the smartest in my class, or the wealthiest, or even the most academic, but my goals were clear. I knew exactly what I wanted to achieve. I was focused in on that 4.0, and nothing could take me away from achieving my goal. I knew what I needed to do. I knew what it was going to take to graduate in the top 5% of the university. I knew I needed to study every single night when I got home. And when I started to get tired, that was the time when I needed to carry on. Because when I started to get tired, I knew at that point, most of the people in my class were going to give up and watch TV or watch Netflix, but I hadn't come this far just to be average. So I kept pushing and kept studying. I knew that if I missed even one night, it could snowball into 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights. Everything I did was to take one step closer to achieving my goals. I'd wake up at 5 a.m., go straight to the gym. I'd be at the library by 6:30 before most people were even awake. By the time classes started at 9 a.m., I had already been studying for 2.5 hours. And once classes had finished at 4 p.m., I'd go home, eat, and get a few hours more studying in before bed. It was hard work, but I did what it took. Your educational journey is going to be hard. I can promise you that. There are two paths you can take: the easy road or the hard road. If you choose the hard road, it means you choose to study when your friends are out partying. You start writing your report when the rest of the class don't even know the deadline yet. You're already awake at 5 a.m., on your way to the library when the rest of your friends are still sleeping. If you can find enough focus and motivation to do these hard things, the things that everyone else struggles with, then your educational journey will be easy. The grades will be easy. The scholarships will be easy. But it's a choice that you have to consciously make. You have to step up and take that path. And it will be lonely at times. It will feel like you're the only one doing this. But that's the whole point. The whole idea of this is to be standing at the top of the mountain while everyone else is still at the bottom. Because you took the path that so many people are unwilling to take. Okay, so you know where you want to be, at the top of that mountain. But why aren't you there yet? Why is it that you're stopping yourself from getting there? Why is it that you just settle for the grades that you're getting? Because doing well at school and university, it's not easy. It's difficult to get good grades. It takes a lot of focus, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of late nights and early mornings. But it's absolutely worth it. You are in charge of the life you live. And when you're in charge, you study hard, regardless of how you're feeling. Whether you're feeling lazy, tired, stressed, frustrated, bored, it doesn't matter. This doesn't stop you.
It's the easiest way to turn your grades around. Changing your attitude about your studying. It's when you decide that the grades you're achieving right now are not representative of what you're able to achieve. Because what you'll notice is that these students that are getting the top grades, their attitude towards their studying is completely different to those that are achieving the lowest grades. Attitude is more important than circumstances, more important than failures, more important than successes, more important than money. It's even more important than talent or skill. And we have a choice every day. What attitude are we going to have when approaching our studying? You can't change what grades you were given up to now. You can't change the exams that you failed. But you can change the attitude you have towards your studying today. And you know, it's going to be hard. You know there's going to be ups and downs, but that's what's going to make it worth it in the end. If you really want it enough, when it comes to graduation day, you're going to look in the mirror and say, I did this. Despite all the obstacles and setbacks, I did it. And that feeling you will have of accomplishment and triumph will be like nothing you've ever experienced. It's a feeling you will take with you for the rest of your life. So when it's time to study and your automatic reaction is to fight it and procrastinate, take a few minutes to think about it. Think about what you're doing. That small decision of choosing to procrastinate is you choosing to settle with what you have. Push past it. Study.
One of the big differences is that the A-grade student goes to work. He sits down and overcomes resistance. It doesn't matter if he's feeling tired or he's had a long day. It doesn't matter how he's feeling. He sits down and he goes to work. And he has pride in that. You've got to ask yourself, why do I want to become an A-grade student? I'll tell you the reason why it was important for me when I was at university. It was because I wanted to be the best version of myself, so I could train myself to be wiser, think faster, work more efficiently, and ultimately, I knew that all those challenges that came up were training for the next challenges in life. As Anthony Cheam once said, if your goal is to get an A grade overall in your exams in 6 months' time, and you're only working at C grade level right now, then the amount you need to study needs to increase by at least 50%. If you continue studying the way you are, you'll continue getting the same grades you're getting. If you're studying 2 hours at nighttime, then you need to move up to 3 hours, then 4, then eventually 5. If you don't train the muscle, when it comes time to do the actual exam, you're not going to be able to achieve that A grade. An A grade student takes full responsibility for what shows up in their life. There's a whole load of problems that show up daily in our lives that we have no control over. The weather, the economy, the government, illness. A lot of that we can't control. However, would you not agree that becoming the best version of yourself, upgrading your skills, obtaining the best qualifications you can, would that not put you in a better, stronger position to deal with everything that gets thrown at you? Do you think that upgrading yourself and becoming a wiser, smarter, more driven and successful person would benefit the people around you that you love? Of course it would.
But I'm not so easily convinced and naive to think that getting good grades is as easy as pressing a button, and within seconds you're getting A grades and your life is better. You may not be able to get to this level of studying in a matter of seconds or minutes, but it's easily possible to achieve it in a matter of weeks or months if we just consciously choose to face what's in front of us. And the first step is to just get things done. Get your studying done. If you say you're going to study 3 hours tonight, then do it. Because when you start to get things done, you'll realize that you'll start to have more success. And sometimes a big part of success is just not being lazy and just doing what you know you have to do. Students only studied when they felt in the mood to study, they'd be getting C's and D's right now, because everyone has those days where we just don't feel like studying. There's gotta be those days that you just have to push through. There might even be more days when you don't feel like it than when you do. But that's okay, we've all been there. And the top 1%, they push through it. If you're chasing grades, then you might as well just give up now. The grades are nothing. There's nothing there. It's not the grades you should be chasing, it's the individual that is capable of achieving those grades that you should be chasing. Those students that are achieving a 4.0 GPA, you've got to study their character, because that's when you'll start to see exactly what it takes. The daily habits that are followed religiously, the hours of studying late at night while everyone else is sleeping, the 100% attendance in class. And when you study the characters of people getting poor grades, you'll see failure everywhere. You'll see it all falling apart. The procrastination taking control, the lack of drive and focus, skipping classes when they just don't feel like it.
It's your choice you have to make. Are you moving forward on a journey to better yourself? Or are you sat down and giving in, throwing in the towel, making do with what you have, not willing to take the risk? Because that's what most people are doing. They don't give a damn about achieving anything in their life. You can see it in their actions, in their behavior. So don't be most people.
Ed Milet, one of the top peak performance experts on the planet, explains it like this: failure and setbacks, students quitting, failing the exams, having retakes, dropping out. It's all going to happen. Just get ready. Don't give in to that stuff. Don't give in to the fears. Don't give in to the setbacks. You're gonna have failures. It's part of the journey. And when you get weak, when your classmates give up, when your friends tell you you shouldn't be studying so much, or that you're not good enough, or that there's something better, or whatever they tell you, you remember why you're doing it.
You've got to have a persistent attitude that you're gonna win. You got to have a positive outlook. You got to be optimistic. You got to know you're gonna win. Right now, you need to believe you're gonna win. Because, listen to me, the price you pay for not being the best version of yourself is too extreme. You'll have to carry the burden of failure for the rest of your life.
Start to stand up a little taller. Start to walk more confidently. Start becoming the best version of you. You can do it quietly in your own way. You can do it in the way you want. But somehow they gotta look at you and think, okay, I ain't gonna mess with that one. You're gonna have to put up with some failures. You're gonna have to put yourself into some uncomfortable places. Listen to me. Do it. Put yourself into an uncomfortable place. Don't negotiate. Don't try to navigate in your head. unrealistic people rule the world.
You want to raise the bar. Raise your standards. Take risks. Most people won't do that. You see, most people engage in low life living. As Les Brown puts it, you begin to look at yourself, look at your dreams, and begin to experiment while stepping into greatness. If you are not willing to risk, you can't grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you cannot become your best, then you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? Now, you can see the link between your studying and happiness. The more you push yourself in your studying to become better than you were yesterday, you will start achieving more and feeling better about yourself, which will make you happier. There's a direct link between your studying and your happiness. There are a few people who have decided within themselves, I'm going to make it. Some people aren't waiting for their lives to improve. Some people are moving on their own because they feel within themselves, I've got what it takes to make it. They are not afraid about tomorrow because of how they see themselves, because of what they feel that they deserve, because of what they feel that they can create for themselves. Because these people have decided, as they look at the future, as they look at themselves, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And when you have that kind of drive, nothing can stop you. Nothing. That's what life is about. Pushing and challenging. Looking for ways in which you can improve yourself. But not only is it important that you believe and begin to know that it's possible to live your dreams as you run towards it, but it's necessary that you work on yourself, that you develop yourself. It's necessary that you get the energy drainers out of your life. And that's the difference between people that are excelling in school and university and those that are not. People that excel in their education are people that understand that pain can be turned around and used as fuel to fight back harder. And that pain, if it's deep enough, if it hurts enough, it can carry you for the next 2, 3, even 4 or more years. It's that powerful. How much time do you spend every day debating with yourself whether you should go and study or procrastinate a little longer? Well, let me give you some advice. Sometimes you have to ignore what you're feeling and just go through the motions. You might feel like watching TV. You might feel like doing something. You might not feel like doing something. And instead of not doing it, just go ahead and go through the motions. Get it done. Get out there and do what you're supposed to do. It's the problem most students have. They negotiate with procrastination. And at first, it's difficult to overcome. But the more you do it, the more you make yourself study even when you don't feel like it, the easier it will become. Get up and go and study. We all know the students that complain about their grades. They make excuses why they couldn't achieve higher. But because they're making excuses, they blame everyone else but themselves, so they don't do anything about it. They don't fix anything. They don't improve anything, so they continue getting the same grades. If all you do is complain, nothing's going to happen in your life. Be obsessed over your future. Be consumed by the possibilities. The super successful don't stop when they hit their targets. They simply reset and go again. That dream is not going to just sit there and wait for you to come and get it. You've got to chase it. You've got to chase it like a man possessed. You've got to go and get it. So, what are you doing about it? You've got to take action with your studying. Find a solution to your problem. Don't be the problem. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. If you increase your studying by 50%, your grades are also likely to increase. And if they don't, then find out why.
Where you're at right now, it's important that you level up, that you upgrade your life, that you keep aiming and striving for more, that you keep increasing the effort that you're putting in right now, because you can do more. There is another level that you haven't quite reached yet. There is another level that you haven't quite reached yet. And when you're aiming that high, obstacles will be thrown at you. You're going to feel discouraged, even depressed at times. And it's okay to feel discouraged sometimes, because when you're finding it difficult, that's when you're being put to the test. At this point, a lot of students give up. They walk away. And that's why those students don't continue to grow. Their grades don't improve because they don't want it badly enough. If they want to stay at home watching TV and ignoring their education, then that's up to them. But you're capable of more than that. So when you're about to give up and you feel like you can't continue anymore, one of two things will happen. And what will happen will determine which direction your entire life will go. You can do A, give up, or B, when you've had enough, when you feel like you can't continue anymore, you take a quick break, maybe go for a walk, clear your mind, then come back to your desk and study some more. And that decision you make at the point where you're about to give up determines where you're going to be in 5, 10, 15 years' time. Because the attitude that you have will either propel you to success or pull you down to the ground.
If you really want it, it's yours to take. No one gives it to you or takes it away. It's yours if you want it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. There's no fast fix to achieving extraordinary grades. There will be days you'll be tired, even exhausted, but you continue regardless because you don't judge it on the daily. You judge it in the long frame. You keep your eyes on graduation. You know there's going to be ups and downs, but you know that it's all going to be worth it. You know that when you start getting results, it's going to be worth it. You'll look in the mirror and you'll say, yeah, I did this. You feel this overwhelming feeling that you're overworking the crowd. You're overworking everybody around you. You're studying more than them. You became something. You became somebody. And once you get there, that's when you know you've done enough. But don't talk about it. Practice what you preach. And just do it. Just don't quit. You keep fighting. You keep fighting no matter what. Because trust me, on graduation day, you'll look back over the last few years and you'll realize it was worth it.
When I was at university, my professor asked us, "Why do you want a 4.0 GPA? What do you want to accomplish? Why are you studying?" And someone would get up and say, "Because if I work hard and I study well and do well in my exams and get some work experience, then maybe I can get a good job and provide for my family and become what I've been put on this planet to become." My professor said, "Sit down, because if you think with such uncertainty, if you say the word maybe, then you're never going to make it. You have to get up and be absolutely convinced you're going to become a success. Your path to success starts right now with your daily studying. You have to do whatever it takes, however many hours of studying it takes, reading textbooks until late at night, going to see your professor if you have questions, attending every class, arriving at the library at 6 a.m. while everyone else is still sleeping. Whatever it takes, you need to do it. That's the answer I want to hear from you. I can see straight away those students that are a bit wobbly and struggling with motivation, and those that have a deep sense of hunger within them that is driving them to put in 100% effort every day. Those that have a short-term and long-term goal that they're chasing every day. I can see it in their eyes. I can see it in their actions. I can see it in what they do. Their passion, their drive, their relentlessness. They just go on and on and on. They study when they're tired. They study when they're bored. They study when their body keeps telling them to procrastinate. But they manage to push out 1 or 2 hours more studying. And it's this extra bit of studying that differentiates these top students from the rest of the class.
Step forward. Do not wait. Go to your desk and study. And make every day, every minute, every second, make it all count. Every decision you make should help you become one step closer to the person you want to be. You can become the exact person you want to be. And you become that person through one small decision at a time. Instead of letting your goals and your studying slide out from beneath you, instead of letting go of all the things you've worked hard for so far in your life, use the discipline within you to make it happen. Shut down all those pathetic excuses and make it happen. It is within you. You just gotta find it. So when your alarm clock goes off, you have a decision to make. And it takes discipline to do this, to really commit to having a productive day, to get up and to make every single minute of your day count. And you have to do this every day. You won't get anywhere without consistency. Even if your friends are phoning you to go out, you decline and you study. Even if it's raining outside and you don't want to walk to the library, you put your raincoat on and you walk to the library. You are going to do this.
It takes sacrifices. That's what it takes to be great. Any kind of success that you'll experience in your life will take sacrifice. And that's the case for your studying, too. You need to be willing to go the extra mile. Someone who wakes up early, goes to the gym, and walks into the empty library while everyone else is still sleeping. You will get tired, but if you have a strong enough reason, you will find the strength to push through. Why are you different than all the other people in your class who are trying to achieve exactly the same as you? What makes you stand out from them? What makes you deserve it more than they deserve it? Somebody is waiting for you to give up. Someone is waiting for you to fall. So don't just talk about your hustle. Don't just talk about how much you're studying. Show me.
Every single one of us only has 24 hours in a day. That includes me. That includes you. That includes your friends, your teachers, your parents. It also includes Bill Gates, Richard Branson, and Will Smith. And so, if you only have 24 hours a day, your success is solely dependent on how you use that 24 hours. How many of your 24 do you spend mindlessly scrolling through social media, or on the phone to friends, or watching aimless videos on YouTube? So what's the difference between someone who is successful in their education, or in business, or however you want to define it, and someone who is unsuccessful? The successful person uses every single hour of their 24 hours wisely. That's it. That's really it. The person failing their exams will be spending much of their 24 hours doing things that do not align with their long-term goals. The person at the top of the class will be spending all of their 24 hours reading, writing, learning, researching, asking questions, planning, preparing, exercising, and eating healthily. Because I can tell you all about your life if you show me your schedule and you stick to it. If there are empty gaps in the schedule where you're not doing anything productive, I know exactly where you're going to be in 10 years' time.
You can pass your exams. You can be great at whatever it is that you choose to be great at. But you have to put in the work. You have to want it bad. You have to want it so bad that you're willing to lose sleep for it. You have to want it so bad that you're willing to lose friends over it. You have to want it so bad that you never, ever give up. As Steve Jobs says, I'm here to make a dent in the universe. You will never hear me complain that it's someone else's fault why I'm not getting the grades I have the potential of achieving. If I don't like where I am, I'll work harder. My current situation is a perfect reflection of the hard work or lack of work I put in. When you look at the all-time greats, there's one thing in common among them all. They all have relentless, sickening work ethic. To get to the top, you have to skip watching TV, going to every party, scrolling through social media, and wasting your time on unproductive things. Because while the average student is sleeping, you are hustling.
If you're doing well at school or university, if you're doing more than the group of friends you hang around with, if you're getting better grades than them, if you're doing more to move yourself forward than they are, then it's easy to fool yourself into thinking that you're working to your full potential. But it depends. It depends where your group of friends have set the bar. Let me explain. If you run the 100-meter sprint with a group of people that can't run as fast as you, of course you'll win, quite easily. It wouldn't take much effort. But if you run against people that are much faster than you might come 6th or 7th place, or even last. But it would push you and inspire you to run faster. It would make you push that little bit more. Instead of training 3 days a week, you might start training 5 days a week. And it doesn't matter that you came in last place. Your time is faster. And that's why you need to surround yourself with people that are better than you. It's these people that will push you up and encourage you and motivate you. There's a quote: "You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Because their characteristics and habits and ways of doing things will rub off on you. If your friends are all letting life pass them by and they don't prioritize their studying, then it's likely that that behavior will rub off on you too. It's one of the single biggest improvements you can make to your life. To evaluate and, if necessary, upgrade the people you spend the most time with. As Will Smith once said, "As a child, my parents always told me you can be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do." But I didn't totally believe it. Yet I went out into the world and I carried myself, and I held my head high, and I stood there and I looked people in their eyes, and I talked to people as if I was deserving of all the things that this planet has to offer.
Some of you are doing okay. You're getting decent grades at university. You're passing your exams. You're getting your assignments in on time. But you shouldn't be satisfied with just doing okay. No one should be aiming for average, and that includes you. You need to be set on climbing to the next level. And you're not going to reach the next level until you commit to becoming better than you were yesterday. When you start giving more, you'll start receiving more. More opportunities, more prosperity, stronger relationships, and better health. If you push yourself, you can always raise the bar in your life. You have to keep raising the bar. First you set the standard, then you raise the bar. You're only going to rise above average by working hard, by grinding, by hustling, by believing in yourself, by believing in yourself when no one else does, by becoming obsessed with reaching success, by sacrificing today for a better tomorrow, by getting out of your comfort zone and pushing yourself past perceived limitations, by sticking it out when things get tough, by using your pain as fuel to drive you to success, by taking responsibility of your life, no matter what happens, by not using excuses to allow your poor results, by doing whatever it takes. When your goals are so big that they scare small minds, and you're so driven that you can envision this goal every minute of every day, it is then that great things start to happen.
The struggle. It's very simple. The attitude you have when facing struggles and obstacles is what determines whether you will be successful. And if you're going to commit the next 2, 3, 4 years of your life to your education, then your attitude is everything. Being able to keep studying despite the adversity thrown at you. You fail an exam, keep studying. You argue with your friends, keep studying. You have money problems, keep studying. You keep on marching on through the struggle, the chaos, the frustration, the procrastination, the disappointment, the anger, the regret. When all that is there, but you keep studying through it all, you know you have the discipline to be a successful person. It's the ability to know that even though at the time you feel overwhelmed and overpowered, you know deep down that it too shall pass. You will find a way. You will keep studying to chase your goal, to make you proud, to make your family proud, through thick and thin. You will continue studying.
Confucius said one time, "He who said he can and he who said he can't are both usually right." So, ask yourself this. What do you want to be remembered for? I hope you want to be remembered for someone who gets results, for someone that gets good grades, for someone that has their health in check, for someone who has their financial situation in check. We can start now. Right now. Let's make it happen. Most of us are only living at 40% of our capability. The mind has a restrictor, like a car. If you're driving a car and the car has a restrictor on it, the car may say 130 miles per hour, but the restrictor is set for 91. The car wants to go. The car wants to go, but the factory restrictor says, no, we're not going past 91. We have a restrictor in our brain. It's a survival mechanism, and it protects us from pain and suffering. And your brain pushes you in a direction that is comfortable. The mind controls everything. When you get to 40%, your brain says, we're done studying. This is starting to get uncomfortable. So you stop studying. So, if you start to feel the pain at 40%, that's where it starts. Okay, I'm feeling pain. My mind's saying all this nonsense to me. It's trying to get you to procrastinate. It's trying to get you to relax and take a step back. But this is the time you have to regain control back of your mind. It's like, okay, let me see if I can go 45 or 50%. And once you start giving yourself more and more hope and start pushing back, your mind is going, wait, what are you doing? I'm telling you to go right, but you're going left. You then start controlling your mind. You start finding more in yourself. And then you go from 40% to 50% to 60% to 70 to 80 or even 90. But that's the start of it. Get to the spot where your mind is saying, stop. Wherever that is, get there first. And then that's where you can start pushing back. You've got to control yourself in that moment.
We all know people that have these dreams and ambitions, and they talk and talk and talk about what they're gonna do. And they're talking and talking, but there's no action. They say they're going to do this and they're going to do that, but when are they going to do it? They just end up coasting through life like everyone else. So you can see that behavior in another person. So don't be that person. Do something about it. Do something to move you towards that goal. If that means studying an extra hour that day, then so be it. If that means going for a 30-minute run after class, then so be it. It doesn't matter what it is, however small or insignificant that step seems. If you take one small step, 365 days a year, it all adds up. Once you truly realize where you stand amongst the 7 billion people in the world when it comes to opportunity, it's ridiculous. And let me tell you what happens when you take responsibility for your life and you see the opportunities in front of you for what they are. You start to take control. You realize that there's nothing else, no one else that's controlling your life. It's all on you. In the words of Gary Vaynerchuk, your ego and your insecurity doesn't want to take the hit. You don't want to admit that you messed up, because for some reason so many of you are living your lives based on other people's opinions, and that is crippling you. The way you really eliminate fear is to not care about anyone else's opinion. My losses are mine. I'll deal with them myself. I don't need your 2 cents. You're losing plenty on your own. If you let somebody else's opinion, whether it's your friend, your partner, your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, if you are genuinely living the exact life you want to live, then what will happen is you'll stop waiting for the right time to make a move. You'll stop waiting to make a change or break bad habits. You'll stop blaming others for the lack of happiness in your life. But if your life has been out of control for so long, regaining control will not happen overnight. If you're committed to experiencing your own happiness and creating positive things in your life for yourself, you will. People are waiting for the right time to make a move, take a chance, make a change, or break a bad habit. Yet that right time never seems to appear. Each of us have plenty of excuses as to why we're stuck in the metaphorical mud of life, feeling like we control little more than the air we breathe into our lungs. And the truth is, it's easy to blame others for our lack of happiness. When it comes to studying, consistency is so important. A lot of people win and then they chill for 2 or 3 months, but real winners, they have their finger on the pulse all the time. They're always looking for the next one. They're not studying to get satisfied. They're studying to learn everything there is to know. They never get to a place where they feel like they made it, because as long as you're moving towards achieving something, you keep studying, you keep reading, you keep learning, you stay hungry. And watch how it changes you, day by day, month by month. You'll evolve into a completely different person.
If we did even just a fraction of all the things that we know that we should be doing, we'd all be A-grade students right now. But there's so many things that we talk to ourselves and say, yeah, I know I should be doing this. Yeah, I should be doing that. I should be studying more. I should be eating healthier. We all know what we need to do to become the best version of ourselves. But for whatever reason, we're not doing it. And so the ability to choose and actually decide to do what we know we should be doing, it's a superpower. That's what defines the greatest performers to the people that haven't quite made it yet. It's the difference between an A grade student and a C grade student. The C grade student knows when he should be studying, but he doesn't study straight away. He procrastinates for an hour or two before he actually starts, whereas the A grade student goes to work immediately, as soon as it's time, not a minute after. When it's time to study, stand up to it. Face it. What does that time mean to you? Is it something that is negotiable, or is it set in concrete? What is it that you're waiting for? How much do you want it? Ask yourself this. What's more important? Procrastination or your education?
If you don't know what to do, if you don't know where to start, it's very simple. Just aim to be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. And when you start to do this, you'll start to see some incredible results. You'll start to become someone that you never thought you could be. But your progression is not going to be in a linear path. You'll go through cycles of stress and recovery. So it's just being able to surf the flow of that. So you can start small. If you normally watch 2 hours of Netflix at nighttime, decrease it to 1 hour and study an extra hour that night. If you do that every day, that's 7 hours extra studying a week. You have to really study hard. You have to back your studying with hard work. You ask anyone successful, what's the secret to success? A lot of people will say hard work. They have no doubt in their mind that they're working harder than everyone else. So, do you have it in your mind that you're working harder than everyone else in your class? Or everyone else in your year?
Is you. This can be you. Stop failing to respond, to react. It's at crossroads like this where you decide where your future goes. All this work you're doing now are the steps before you break the ribbon at the finish line. This is your opportunity to change. Change towards a better life, towards a life where you are the director, where you take control, where you control the direction of your life. This is the time to become something more than ordinary. Because you're more than average. You always have been. But in order for you to become this, you need to work.
Self-discipline. The only thing you need to combat procrastination. When you are struggling to pull yourself out of bed, self-discipline. When you're struggling to drag yourself to your desk, self-discipline. When you're struggling to start writing that assignment you've been putting off for weeks, self-discipline. I receive emails every day asking if I can help them with procrastination. And I can coach them and teach them 101 different study methods and memorization techniques and productivity hacks, but it's all meaningless without self-discipline. There's no magic wand that I can wave that will magically make you study. You have to do it yourself. You have to make yourself do it. You see, motivation is temporary. You might watch this video and be motivated for the next 30 minutes, or 3 hours, or 1 week, or even a month. But eventually your motivation will fade. And that's okay. That's completely normal. Your motivation can and will go up and down. But when your motivation starts to fade, that's when your self-discipline kicks in. That's when you need to force yourself to get up and study. And it's at this point that a lot of students fail. because they rely on motivation to carry them in the long term. But that's not how it works. I learned this the hard way. For years, I would get short spurts of motivation, and I'd study like crazy for days or even weeks on end. But as soon as that motivation started to dwindle, I just didn't have the self-discipline to back it up. So I would quickly slide back into my procrastinating, lazy self. But I managed to shift my mindset. I managed to train myself to slowly but surely, over the course of a year, build up my self-discipline. I used to find it difficult just studying for 30 minutes without losing concentration. Now I can study for 14 hours a day, and it's actually relatively easy. So, how did I fix my self-discipline? How did I manage to build up my self-discipline and train myself to study even when my entire body was telling me that I should go back to the comfort of my own bed? There were 3 super easy but effective steps that I took. First, I removed distractions. I noticed the biggest thing distracting me when I was studying was my phone that I usually place right next to my laptop. Whenever I received a notification, I would stop studying and check my phone. It's such an obvious thing to do, but for years, my phone was a huge reason why I procrastinated so much. So, I started to hide my phone behind my laptop screen, so I couldn't see it when I was studying. Out of sight, out of mind. And it worked. Another thing I realized I was doing was that I was waiting to feel ready to study before I actually started studying. So I kept putting my studying off for hours because I never felt ready. And before I knew it, it would be the end of the day, and I still hadn't done anything. So, I made my studying a habit. I would wake up at 5 a.m. every morning and I would go straight to the gym, and then I would go straight to the library. I would do this every single day, even on Sundays. I wanted to train my brain into knowing that this is just what I do now. When a behavior becomes a habit, we stop using our decision-making skills and instead function on autopilot. At first it felt wrong. Your brain will resist waking up at 5 a.m. But eventually, you will program your mind into accepting it, and it will start to acknowledge that it's right and natural to wake up at this time. And that's exactly what happened to me. At first it was difficult waking up at 6 a.m. every morning, but you'd be surprised at how easy it started to become after just a few weeks. I made sure that I was asleep by 10 p.m. the night before. Every single night. Now that's important. Many students struggle to wake up at 5, 6, 7 a.m. And of course they will, if they went to sleep at 3 a.m. The third thing that I did to train myself to become more self-disciplined was I rewarded myself every night. Self-discipline doesn't mean your new schedule has to involve your studying for every second of the day. In fact, giving yourself zero wiggle room often results in failures, disappointments, and going back to your old ways. While practicing self-control, schedule specific breaks, treats, and rewards for yourself. If I studied well during the day and I concentrated well and I didn't procrastinate, for 1 hour that night, I would just relax and read a book, or go out with friends, or even just watch Netflix for an hour. It's important to know when to relax and when not to. If you've had a productive day and you've got a lot done, then make sure you reward yourself. In the long run, you'll thank yourself for it. So, now it's your turn. Stop letting your self-discipline get in the way of where you need to be in life. You know what you need to do to fix it. So fix it. Because you won't find anyone on this planet that is massively successful that doesn't have extremely high levels of self-discipline. It's one of the most important underlying factors that determines whether or not someone will be successful in the future. If you can't even bring yourself to study, how are you going to manage the thousands of hours of working on your craft to become among the best in your field of work? whatever you want to become. You can't win the war against the world if you can't win the war against your own mind. Whatever your dreams and goals are, self-discipline is how you're going to get there. You need to respect yourself more. Because if you respected yourself, you wouldn't let yourself procrastinate the entire day. You wouldn't hold yourself back from achieving phenomenal success. If you respected yourself, you would do what's best for you. And that means not watching Netflix for 4 hours a day. It means not scrolling through your Instagram feed 50 times a day. It means not hanging out with friends when you know you have deadlines the next morning. You're worth more than that. One of the common similarities that I notice with most of the emails I receive from students is that they have put self-limiting restrictions on their own academic performance. They don't believe they can climb to the top of their class. Therefore, they don't even bother trying. They're not even trying to implement self-discipline because they don't believe it's even possible. And the first thing I always say is, it's time to destroy your self-limiting beliefs, because we all have them, to some extent. Obtaining the grades you dream of is absolutely achievable, if you believe it is. In the words of Will Smith, 99% of people are not willing to do what it takes to make their dreams come true. The center of bringing any dream into fruition is self-discipline. It's about being in control of your mind, to choose actions that are in your own best interest. Every day we are choosing to procrastinate, and that's just not in our own best interest. Right now you're not letting yourself reach your dreams. Fault and responsibility do not go together. It sucks, but they just don't. When we blame someone else, it's us pushing the responsibility to them and trying to get them to fix it. But that's not how it works, especially when it's about your own studying. Your studying, your life, your happiness is your responsibility, and your responsibility alone. As long as we're pointing the finger and stuck in whose fault something is, we're jammed and trapped in victim mode. And when we're in victim mode, we're stuck in suffering. The road to power is in taking responsibility. And if you still can't muster up enough self-discipline to start studying, try this. Close your eyes. Envision what it feels like when you're done. When you're done with your 8 hours of studying, when you get to the exam hall and you open your exam paper and you quickly scan the questions and you know the answer to every single question. When you get your exam results and your friends ask what grade you got, and you can proudly tell them. When you're graduating with a 4.0 GPA and your family are so proud to show you off. You can make it happen.
What happens with students, and I see this all the time, they start university, but with the mindset that they're constantly looking for excuses about why things aren't going the way they want, why they're disappointed with their exam results, why they don't think their professor is teaching them effectively, why they keep getting up late and missing classes. And when you do that, you take all the power you have in your life and you give it away. You just throw it all away because you're blaming other people. By blaming your professors or your university or your friends or family or your circumstances, you give your power away to them, but you need to embrace it.
Think about the lies that you tell yourself to rationalize being lazy. When you take the easy road and you leave discipline behind. When you say to yourself, I'll start studying for my exam tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and you say, I'll start studying for my exam tomorrow. And the exam deadline is getting closer and closer. And a few days before the exam, you realize you haven't started studying yet. And the panic sets in and the sleepless nights begin. It's too late. It's the day of the exam. You sit at your desk, you open the exam paper for the first time, and you experience that all too common sinking feeling when you realize you don't know the answer to any of the questions. You know what I'm talking about. We've all been there. It's the excuses and the lack of discipline that are taking you down paths that you shouldn't be going.
There are a million reasons why you're disappointed, but the reasons are not important. What is important is what you do about it. What is important is how you're going to spin it so that you take advantage of the situation. Failed an exam? Good. Study 2 hours a day extra from now on. Had an argument with a friend? Good. You just had a crucial lesson in social science. Try to stay more calm next time. Keep waking up late and getting to class late? Good. Go to sleep earlier and wake up earlier tomorrow. Whatever your problems are, they are fixable. You just have to persevere.
And as you work at it brick by brick, you might start out awfully inefficient and incompetent at studying, but being willing to put in the work and grind it out and becoming someone who people actually look up to and admire, at that moment in your life, you'll realize it was worth it. All the pain, the suffering, the late night study grinds, it was all worth it. Procrastination. The enemy to every single student on the planet. We all do it. But it's destructive. It destroys ambition. It destroys dreams. It destroys exam grades, report grades, scholarships. It destroys progress, creativity, ideas. It can even hold you back from graduating. When it's time to study and you start to feel your mind drifting onto other things, when you sit down at your desk and open your textbook, but the TV is staring at you, or notifications pop up on your phone from your friends, it's at this moment you need to reset, get aggressive, and study. Do not wait. Waiting is what feeds procrastination, and the feeling will get stronger and stronger until you're no longer thinking about studying anymore. Do not take the easy way out. Do not give up and take the easy road. That's what the bottom 90% are doing. Do you want to be in the bottom 90%, or do you want to be in the top 10%? Because it's the decision you make, just as the feeling of distraction is creeping up on you, that is the deciding factor of where you're going to be. Fight the procrastination and get your studying done. Don't leave it for tomorrow. You'll be busy with other things tomorrow. Do it today. Right now, make today count. As Eric Thomas said, I don't believe in the word procrastination. I told a young lady in Australia who told me she was a procrastinator, I said, look, if I told you to meet me here tomorrow at 5 a.m. and I'm going to give you $3 million, where would you be? She said, I'd be right here at 4:59 a.m. ready to get that $3 million. I said, right. Then there's no such thing as procrastination. What it is that it's not important to you. It's not something that's urgent enough for you. And when something is not urgent, then you put it off. If it's not meaningful to you and it's not important to you, then you're not going to make it a priority. So what you have to do is find out how to make it meaningful. How can you make it purposeful? How can you make it stick? And when you can find that out, I promise you, you'll get up early, you'll get there first, and you'll do whatever it takes to make that goal a reality. So to me, it's not a procrastination issue, it's a priority issue. Education is the great equalizer that levels the playing field and gives the average person a shot at extraordinary success. If you work hard and stay focused on your dream, you can achieve it. But it's procrastination that often gets in the way for most of us. We all have things that we'd rather be doing, things that give us short-term pleasure, but are destructive in the long run. But it's what you do when you get to that edge that determines what you're going to be. Having the skill to turn your failures and incompetences into a positive force, into actions that make you strong and build you up. It can take years of effort before you can do it properly, but it will completely transform your life. Imagine every failure you endure, and you don't see it as a failure. You see it as another challenge that can be used to your advantage, to make you smarter, stronger, faster. Because we're built for struggle as human beings. We're built to challenge the world. You want challenges because challenges toughen you up. You don't want an environment where you're sheltered from all obstacles, and so you don't grow and you don't suffer setbacks, because I can guarantee you, in the long term, you won't be happy. Like Jordan Peterson said, people have extracted unbelievable successes out of catastrophic failures. And I'm not saying that in a naive way. I know perfectly well what happens to people. You're doing fine in life, and then you get cancer, and then 6 months later you're dead. And all the heroism in the world isn't going to save you at that point. But that's not the point. Life is full of obstacles, and heartache, and failure, and catastrophic losses in all shapes and sizes. But that doesn't mean you don't go out there and take life by the horns.
As Barack Obama said, excuses are tools of the incompetent used to build bridges to nowhere and monuments of nothingness. But we have no time for excuses. Nobody is going to give you anything that you have not earned. Nobody cares how tough your upbringing was. Nobody cares if you suffered from discrimination. And you have to remember that whatever you have gone through, it pales in comparison to the hardships previous generations have endured. And they overcame them. And if they overcame them, you can overcome them too. When you do come across failure, which you absolutely will, you must get something out of it. And every time you fail and you learn from that failure, that's one step up the ladder to success.
You'll have to overcome hardships every day. Every day is going to be hard. There's a reason why only some students can climb to the top of the class. There's a reason why only the top few can achieve a 4.0 GPA. This is going to be a long, hard journey, and you're going to have to grow layer after layer of skin to brush all these problems off that are going to arise and turn them from disadvantages to advantages.
When you do come across failure, which you absolutely will, you must get something out of it. And every time you fail and you learn from that failure, that's one step up the ladder to success. You might have to fail 20 times just to succeed once, but that's just how it goes. No one succeeds the first time.
And having this skill, and it really is a skill, having this skill to turn your failures and incompetences into a positive force, into actions that make you strong and build you up. It can take years of effort before you can do it properly, but it will completely transform your life.
You might have just missed out on a scholarship, or you might even have to retake the year. But you can be absolutely certain that you'll come back with vengeance, with more determination in your eyes than you ever knew you had. You'll blow those exams out of the water. You'll storm past your friends and classmates. You'll take leadership in all the group work you're involved with. You'll be the person that everyone looks up to. The person that, if they had to pick one person in the entire class who they thought would be successful in the future, it would be you. Because these are your failures, and you learn not to be disappointed with failure. You understand it and use it to your advantage.
Imagine every failure you endure, and you don't see it as a failure. You see it as another challenge that can be used to your advantage, to make you smarter, stronger, faster. Because we're built for struggle as human beings. We're built to challenge the world. Like Jordan Peterson said, people have extracted unbelievable successes out of catastrophic failures. And I'm not saying that in a naive way. I know perfectly well what happens to people. You're doing fine in life, and then you get cancer, and then 6 months later you're dead. And all the heroism in the world isn't going to save you at that point. But that's not the point. Life is full of obstacles, and heartache, and failure, and catastrophic losses in all shapes and sizes. But that doesn't mean you don't go out there and take life by the horns. We're getting too soft as a culture, and that's what happens when we get 100 years of prosperity. Things become easier, and that's a great thing. It means we become more educated. Our universities use technology to teach us more efficiently. More is known about our subject field. But these technological advances also breed procrastination. It's never been so easy to get distracted. We have screens everywhere. Our phones, our laptops, tablets, the TV, video consoles, which is bad enough as it is. But that, combined with a culture that is getting too soft, that doesn't know the meaning of discipline and work ethic, it leads to even more serious procrastination issues on a huge scale. Once you're focused with the task on hand, you won't even think about getting distracted. It's being able to fight procrastination and refine your discipline to get the best education possible. Just start. That's the hardest part. Just start. Get in the zone of studying. Turn your notifications off. Turn your TV off. Lock your door. Put your headphones on and settle in for a few hours of studying.
So the next time you're facing a decision where you want instant gratification and you forget about the long-term goal and you forget about the dreams you have, that's when it's time to get excited. You need to pump yourself up. You need to remember the reason why you're doing it. You need to close your eyes and see where you're going to be in 10 or 20 years' time. You need to smell it, hear it, and feel it within you, exactly how it will be if you decide to push your work back and procrastinate. And if you decide to stay focused and stay disciplined and get the work done. It's on you. No one else can make that decision for you. Burn that long-term dream into your mind. Think about it, talk about it, write about it, stick post-it notes around your room about it, but most importantly, do something about it.
There's one thing motivational channels never tell you. It's something they all avoid saying, even though it can be the most motivational 2 words you'll ever hear. They all avoid saying it. It's these 2 words. You can't. Because let me tell you, when someone tells me that I can't do something, when someone doesn't believe in me or looks down on me or sees me as weak and powerless, I don't care who it is. My parents, my friends, my professors at university, society, it doesn't matter. When I'm told you can't, I'll prove you wrong. When you try to drag me down, I'll bounce back twice as strong with more focus, more discipline, more determination than ever before. Because you chose the wrong person to mess with. Because a lot of people would be discouraged and intimidated and fall back when they're told they can't do something. Most people are like that, and that's fine. It's normal to feel that way. It's normal to feel discouraged when the people around you are dragging you down. But that's not me. I turn that negative energy into obsession. I study 3 hours more every day. I stay focused like a laser. Procrastination doesn't stand a chance when I'm in obsession mode. And it's the negative comments, the people saying you can't, that fuels this obsession to become stronger and stronger. I can study 12 hours a day. It's easy. I go to the gym in the morning, study for 4 hours, eat, study for 4 hours, eat, study for 4 hours, then sleep. It becomes a routine, a set of daily habits that I carry out religiously, and I love every minute of it. The studying, which I once struggled with, has become an obsession that I love. I look forward to it every morning. I love learning about the world around me. I love the satisfaction at the end of the day after studying for 12 hours. I love the sense of accomplishment. I love the feeling of my grades increasing from C's to B's to A's. I love when my friends ask me what grade I got, and I love the shock on their faces when I tell them. Studying for exams, something that I used to struggle with on a daily basis. The struggle with focus and the struggle with procrastination. The struggle with constant distractions. It's now so much easier. And I have my haters to thank for that. When they told me I can't, they fueled me. They gave me the energy to power through, to love what I'm studying, to study at a level which I thought was impossible just a year ago. My haters made it possible. The people around me trying to drag me down helped me. And for that, I'll be forever grateful. Success is like a quiet daily set of tasks. Real small. It's like that quiet walk to the library. That empty 24/7 library late at night. Over and over and over. Or as I sit there studying other great people and I compare their actions with my own actions, over and over and over. Or as I sit doing 30 minutes of meditation a day, over and over and over. Making the choice to eat foods that enhance my brain neurotransmitters, over and over and over. It's a very quiet process where you're doing these simple little tasks, but finding love in those simple little tasks. It's not the big thing where you do this one thing and something big happens. Being able to make a success out of your life, it's not purely down to luck. You have more control over it than you think. You can decide to be successful. You can decide to have the fast cars and the big house. And it starts right here with your studying. Not because getting good grades is going to bring you success in the future. It's about the work ethic and the attitude you have towards your studying that will transfer to your work after you graduate. It's about believing that you can achieve something and doing whatever it takes to achieve it. It's about fine-tuning the skills you have to zero in on your goals. The skills that you are improving while you're studying. Work ethic, time management, reading, critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, focus, reasoning, persuasion, organization, overcoming obstacles, and self-motivation. These are all skills that all great students have improved and refined over years of efficient and effective studying. And it's these students that have made a decision that when the world is saying, that's impossible, you're not capable, your dreams will stay as dreams. They have that lone voice that goes, no, you know what? It is possible. Just watch me. They have gone through this process of growth, and they have pushed and pushed through all the obstacles that were thrown at them. It's important that you don't think of your studying as though it's all about passing your exams and getting a piece of paper at the end of it all so you can get a good job. Because it's so much more than that. And it's the great students that understand this. It's not about your exams. It's about the process and the journey you go on and the skills you refine over the years. It's about when you don't feel like studying, but you continue to push through and study anyway. It's doing the things that you need to do, that you know you need to do when you don't feel like doing it. Because the reality is that most people can study when they're feeling good. Most people can study when they have no distractions, when they're in a quiet environment, when there's pressure put on them as a deadline is approaching. But just being able to study on the highs isn't good enough. You have to be able to study all the time. So learning how to refocus your mind on the lows and knowing the lows are going to end is a huge skill. The process is just as important as the actual prize, because the process is going to make you. The deeper the process, the greater the reward. Just remember, the prize is going to be huge. The question I get most is, how do I make myself study when I just don't feel like it? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make yourself sit down and study even when you're feeling exhausted. The way my brain works, I would rather die than not study when I know I have to. Now, of course, I don't mean that literally, but it's an important perspective that a lot of successful people that are at the top of their craft have. Will Smith said something similar. If we get on the treadmill together, there's two things. You're getting off first, or I'm going to die. It's really that simple. And as Owen Cook explains it, a lot of people that are successful use death as an analogy, not because they really want to die, but rather because there's no other possibility. So when someone says, I'd rather die, what it really means is that there's a 0% chance. So what I've found, if I have it on my schedule that I need to study for 2 hours tonight, when I get home, there's a 0% chance that I will miss that study session. Because I know that if I miss one day, then I'll go on to miss another, and then another. There's no convenient time for me to study. It is 100% inconvenient. So once I've made that decision to go, I'm going to stick to that decision. Why? Because if I fail in that decision, I will fail in my larger scale goals. Let me explain. Most people I know that have a job that they hate, they don't try very hard at their job. This is very common, and the rationalization is that my boss is a bad manager. This job just isn't for me. I don't get paid enough. But everything is practice for the big show. Everything is preparation for the huge opportunities that may unexpectedly jump in front of you. So if you can't make yourself work hard in a job you don't particularly like, how are you going to run a multi-million-dollar company as an executive director, or save lives as a top surgeon, or fight for justice as one of the best lawyers in the country if you can't study for just 2 hours on a night when you're feeling tired? How are you going to achieve anything in your career after you graduate? You're not. A work ethic is something that is cultivated over time, and the hardest part of it is that you're your worst enemy, because you can always give up. I mean, you still need to be flexible. If I'm really run down and starting to feel sick, and my body's telling me that I need rest, and it's an exception to the rule, then yes, maybe I can unwind and sleep early that night without studying. But assuming it's just the typical I'm tired excuse, then I'm going to carve out that time, because I know that if I fail to do that, I'm not instilling those habits, and it's going to affect whether I reach my long-term goal. Because those excuses will snowball, and I know you know what I mean, because we've all been there. We feel tired, so we don't study, and the next day, we feel tired again, so we don't study again. You need to rewire your brain. Train your brain to ignore how you're feeling and just focus. It's like a muscle, just keep working on it.
Being great is going to take sacrifices. It's going to take time. It's going to take energy. It's a constant battle of going the extra mile, doing things that other people are not prepared to do, putting in the hours that other people are not prepared to put in, waking up before other people are willing to wake up, preparing for exams before anyone else in your class are willing to start preparing. It's not an easy journey. That's why there's not many people who achieve greatness, because by its very nature, only the top 1% are able to reach it. Because only the 1% are willing to pay the price. Only 1% have the attitude of a winner. Only 1% are willing to do whatever it takes. They do not take the easy way out.
You need to train your mind to push back on the negative thoughts. Train your mind to say, get up, go, keep fighting. And if that's what you become, if that becomes your gut instinct, if that becomes your natural reaction when negative thoughts pop up in your mind, you will overcome just about anything that stands in your path. A-grade students are hungry for success. I can tell what grade a student will achieve from watching the first hour of their morning routine. It's a bold statement, I know, but I see it all the time. The A-grade student wakes up early, gets out of bed, starts their day with purpose and intention. They respect their own time. They know their time is valuable. They know the number of hours in their day is running out. Within 1 hour of waking up, they're leaving the house and on their way to study. They don't waste time. They have goals to reach, dreams to fulfill. They know they are going to make an impact on a huge scale, and there are countless people relying on them to achieve great things. And then there's the D-grade student. They wake up at around 9 or 10 a.m., and the first thing they do is check their Instagram feed for 30 minutes. There's no rush, no sense of urgency. They have dreams to pursue, but their dreams can come later. Lying in bed for another hour is more important. They eventually get out of bed, shower, brush their teeth. They might watch TV for 30 minutes, and finally they'll leave the house and go on their way to study. The difference between an A-grade student and a D-grade student is that the A-grade student is hungry for success. They're hungry to achieve phenomenal grades. They're hungry to achieve their dreams. They're hungry to make something out of their lives. Success is an absolute priority for them, with no compromises. From the minute they wake up in the morning to the minute they lay their head on their pillow at night, every action in between is to get them one step closer to achieving their goals. So, what is it that makes an A-grade student so hungry for success? How do they get that fire burning inside them so strongly that they don't even entertain the idea of procrastinating? The secret is that they have a powerful why. Their why is what intrinsically motivates them and helps them to study. It pushes them forward. It doesn't allow them to stop. It pushes them to just keep achieving and achieving. Everyone has their own why. Everyone has that spark within them that, once lit, burns an uncontrollable fire within that can motivate and inspire in a way that nothing else can. For me, my why started at school. As soon as I woke up in the morning, I would be depressed. I'd have a deep, empty feeling in my stomach because I knew I had to go to school, but I absolutely did not want to go. This feeling was linked directly to my academic performance. I didn't enjoy high school. In fact, I hated it. I was stuck in a trap of failing my exams, so it would damage my confidence. So I believed within myself that I just wasn't clever enough to achieve good grades. Therefore, I didn't study much, and I would fail my exams again as a result. It was a vicious cycle that I was stuck in for years. I graduated high school with a D grade and was consequently rejected from university. They didn't want me. They didn't want someone that was a below average student. I was disappointed with myself. I felt rejected. I felt worthless. At that moment, I made a decision. I am worth more than that. I'm worth more than the D grade that I achieved at high school. So, I researched for years how to become an A grade student. I learned every study technique I could find, every memorization method. I studied the most successful people on the planet. I learned about daily habits and productivity tools. I learned how to become the top 1%. After 3 years, I was finally accepted into university. I put what I had learned to the test. I adopted a growth mindset. I practiced gratitude. I set daily goals. I ate healthily. I exercised regularly. I removed the self-limiting mindset that I wasn't clever enough to achieve incredible grades. And do you know what happened? I started getting A's. For the first time in my life. Exam after exam, essay after essay, I kept performing in the top 5% of my class. I was no longer swimming against the tide. I was no longer depressed about going to school in the morning. I actually started to enjoy it. In fact, I loved it. University was an incredible time in my life. A stark contrast from the dark, depressing years of high school. I made that transformation from a D grade student to an A grade student. The journey took me to the deepest, darkest times of my life, but I managed to use that failure and flip it around into success. Did it take huge amounts of hard work and self-discipline? Yes, but was it worth it? Absolutely. I had so much motivation and inspiration during university. I was overflowing with it. That's when I created this YouTube channel, to help pull as many people out of that trap that I was in as I could. I knew how bad school and university could get, and I didn't want anyone else to go through the pain that I did. That was my purpose. That was what drove me to keep making videos, to keep making motivational videos, even when, at the beginning, no one was watching my videos. Every week, I'd upload a video, and I'd get 20 views, maybe 50 views on a good video. But I just kept making videos and uploading, because my why was pushing me forward. Eventually, my channel started experiencing exponential growth. I was finally having an impact on a huge scale. that I was striving to reach for so long, and my why got me through the hard times. If I didn't have a strong enough purpose, then I would have given up months before my YouTube channel saw any kind of growth. Everyone is different. We've all experienced huge pain and hardships in our lives. It's those exact hardships, that suffering and those failures that you experienced. You need to flip those around and use them as motivation. Turn them into a burning desire to not suffer the same failures you have been going through. It's this intrinsic purpose that A-grade students have, that D-grade students don't have. It's what drives them to keep growing and becoming a better person as each day goes by. Because they have experienced failure, which everyone has, but they choose to do something about it. They choose to not let those failures get in the way of their success. In fact, they choose to use their failure as fuel for their fire. Whereas average students don't do this. They get beaten and thrown around by life, but they don't learn. They don't do anything to change their situation. They keep making the same mistakes. So, they keep getting beaten. They keep getting frustrated and disheartened because they don't seem to be getting anywhere. So now it's your turn to step up. Whatever grades you're getting now, there is a next level that you haven't reached yet. You just need to dig deep within you and find your why. Find that burning desire that you have deep inside you that will motivate you and inspire you every day. Because external motivation is just not enough. Just striving to achieve good grades is not enough. Working towards getting a good job after you graduate or aiming to obtain a scholarship is not enough. It's not intrinsic enough. Your purpose will be your fuel for the next 10 years. The more personal your why is, the more powerful it will be. Your why comes from your pain, the most incredibly painful thing that happened to you in your life. That is your why. The thing you're scared to tell anyone about. That is your why. The thing that caused the darkest and biggest scars. That is your why. And when you experienced it and came out of the other side, or maybe you're still experiencing that pain, you can help other people to never have to experience that same pain. Because your pain is a gift that you can take advantage of and use it to help the lives of potentially millions of people. Because when you have a powerful why, it's like a superpower. If your purpose is strong enough and someone tells you that you can't do something, when someone doesn't believe in you, or looks down on you, or sees you as weak and powerless, you don't care who it is. Your parents, your friends, your professors at university, society, it doesn't matter. When you're told you can't, then it just pours fuel in your fire, and you do what it takes to prove them wrong. When they try to drag you down, you bounce back twice as strong, with more focus, more discipline, more determination than ever before. And it's the most successful students, the ones with the most powerful and personal why, that are able to do this. It's these students that can stay laser focused, and any negativity thrown at them is used to fuel the obsession, to become stronger and stronger. For me, the studying that I once struggled with has become an obsession that I love. I looked forward to it every morning. I loved learning about the world around me. I loved the satisfaction at the end of the day. After studying for 12 hours, I loved the sense of accomplishment. I loved the feeling of my grades increasing from D to C to B to A. What I used to find difficult, the studying and the focus and the concentration, I have the pain I experienced and the failures in my life to thank for that. Because if I didn't overcome those hardships, I would not be in the position I am today. So, now it's your turn. Use your hardships, use your pain, and use them as fuel to turn your life around. You have it within you. You just have to find it.
You can pass your exams, You can be great at whatever it is that you choose to be great at, but you have to put in the work. You have to want it bad. You have to want it so bad that you're willing to lose sleep for it. You have to want it so bad that you're willing to lose friends over it. You have to want it so bad that you never, ever give up. Giving up is not an option. If you can dream it, you can do it. If you can think it, you can do it. And when you fail, you get up and brush yourself off and try again. You'll continue even if you're laughed at. You'll continue even when you lose. But guess what? Life is not always about where you end up. It's about the journey. It's about the attitude. It's about the discipline. It's about never giving up. It's hard to outperform everyone else in your class. Very few people are willing to endure the pain and sacrifice for what it takes to be great. They settle for average. Average is dangerous. Average is for the weak. You can be great. You can get to the next level. You can be the best in your class or the best in your university. You want to do great things, but your actions need to match your words. You need to invest in yourself. Don't let yourself be average. Average people waste their lives away every weekend for what? Not me. I'm in charge of my own life. Everything that I'm not happy with in my own life is completely my fault. It's my responsibility to fix it, no one else's.
Don't let your friends deter you. Don't let your friends distract you. Develop yourself. Show them that there is better. Show them that you are different. Improve yourself every day. Just small actions every day that build up over the course of the year. Study hard. Increase the amount of time you're studying for each day. If you're studying 6 hours a day, then aim for 7 tomorrow. But study smart too. Ask your professor questions. Get help when you need it. Read the marking criteria carefully. These things add up. Successful people don't get to where they are by following their friends or continuously trying to impress them. Instead, they lead. They don't care how